Hello everyone, welcome to Everest Technologies. So today we are going to learn about the use context hook in the React. So if you are using, if you have a large application and you don't want to use the state management or large state management system, if you have some little states in your application, not more activity going on, and but you want something to act globally. So in that context, you can use this use context hook instead of the Redux or something uh, else or other state management systems. So how does the use context hook works? So for that, I have a counter application. So I have a code over here. We have a counter over here, a plus button, a minus button, to add, subtract, and we have add this thing, subtract. We are subtracting from the previous value. It's working perfectly fine. But to demonstrate what is use context hook and how can we use that, I'll gonna have to make some changes to the code structure. So I have a components folder right in here. In there, I'll make a new file named main.js, and here const main equals to, and I'll just transfer all of this code from here to here. So that's all, and what we'll do is export default and main. We have to import the use state over here. Let's do that, and in the app let's return our main function in here and refresh this thing, and it's working perfectly as expected. But let's say we don't have a counter in here. Let's create a separate file for that one. Let's go over here and counter text.js, and I have here export const counter text return. Go over here, remove this one, paste it over here. For right now I'll use this static 0, and instead of that thing we'll use this counter text. So let's say we have our text in the counter text. So in the optimal or in another scenario, what we can do is we can take the counter from here. I'll go over here, let's take the counter here and counter, refresh this, and it's working perfectly. But and again, let's say we have two different things for this button, two different components for this button. Let's say this is not the optimal scenario, but for the sake of this video I have to do that. So I have plus button.js. I'll go over main, I'll copy this or cut that and export const plus button, paste this in here. I'll tag add as a function in here and provide in here. I'll copy and paste this thing. This will be a minus button will take a solve as a function. And what I'll do is I'll just remove this thing in here. I'll do plus button, and if I go in here, it's still minus button. So I'll go over here, minus button. I'll provide add in here, add. I'll provide sub in here, sub. Let's go over here, refresh this, and in the minus button it's minus and it is danger. So refresh this, it's working just as expected. We have dearranged. It's in multiple components. So what can we do then? Let's see, I don't want this counter from here, I don't want this in here, and I don't want this in here. So how can we do that? It will again give us error, so it won't work because we haven't provided anything. I'll go over here, I will not accept anything. I'll provide a random 0 value in here. I'll do the same for the plus button. I'll remove this. On click, I'll have an empty function. Same for the minus button. I'll remove this serve thing and I'll have an empty function. So how can we do that then? It's not working. So let's use useContext now. What we'll do is I'll go over here in the app.js in here, or we can just yeah, let's do that. In here, let's export const. We are using counter context, right? So counter context, I'll create context. So I will create the context in here, right? So I have created the context. We have the counter context. What I'll do right now is counter context dot provider. I'll wrap our main with this counter context. Save this. I'll go to main. I'll take my counter because I don't need it here anymore. I'll cut this, and I don't want our functions over here. Let's save this. I'll bring this in my app. So I have counters in my app. So the provider will take a value, and I'll provide counter and set counter inside the value. So we have done that. After we have done that, I'll go to the main. We don't have anything to do in the main right now because we don't have any data to be shown or any data to be manipulated in here. So I won't do anything, but make sure that your app, your main is wrapped with the counter context. So I'll go to the counter text. In here, what I'll do is I'll just const. I'll take a counter from use context. So our context is counter context. So I'll provide our counter over here. If I go over here and let's see, our 0 is displaying. If I go over here and change our use state to, let's say, 5 and go over here, it has been changed to 5. So it's working. So let's do with the set counter. If I go individually to the plus button in here, if I do const, and as I have sent counter as well as set counter from our provider, so I can use this set counter. I can use this from here, use context, and our counter context. What can I do is set counter. It's a state action, so prev plus 1. So what I'm doing, we're taking the previous state and adding with 1. Let's go for the minus. Let's copy this first and go over here. It's the same. Let's import these things, and in here set counter prev minus 1. Let's refresh everything. Let's refresh the application, and let's go and reset our state 2. I come here, we have 0, so plus and minus. So it's working. Wow. What have we done? We have wrapped our main with the counter context that we have just created. We have provided the value, the counter, and this dispatch function both into this context, and as our counter text plus button and minus button is inside the counter context, so we can use this value whenever we want. So if I go over here, I'm using this context to get the set counter only, because I only need the set counter. Same for the minus, but the counter text we only need the counter to display. So if you have a small application, or if you don't want to massive state management library or package into your application, then you can use context in your application. So that's all for now, and I'll meet you in a new video. And thank you. Like, share and subscribe, and continue watching.